What's going on, nerds? My name is Jesse, and welcome back to Two Guys Review That Movie. Here again with Justin,
What's up, guys?
and we're back, and we're doing Wonder Woman. We just saw it yesterday, and don't forget that we're going to be posting these every Tuesday from now on, from now till forever. So if you're liking this, please follow us on Twitter, show us some love in the comment section, whatever you can do. Justin, out of 10, what'd you think about the movie?
I think it's definitely a 9, but I feel like it's really a low 9 where this is definitely a step in the right direction for what DC needs to do to move towards Justice League. I mean, this is a fantastic film, but there are definitely a lot of places where things could have gone differently and could have helped this movie take another step up.
Yeah, for me, it's an 8.5. Definitely the best DCEU movie in the series so far, and I'm hoping that Justice League takes it up a notch. I also wanted to say, what'd you think about having the first female-led superhero movie directed by the first female to direct a superhero movie, Patty Jenkins?
First and foremost, the whole feeling of the movie and the way that Patty Jenkins led it in a certain direction the entire way, I feel like she did a fantastic job of really sticking to Wonder Woman's strengths and Gal Gadot as an actress. Like, she handles the role really well, and I feel like you can really see that Wonder Woman is this strong person that she's really meant to be.
I agree 100%. I actually thought a couple of times because the big knock on Gal Gadot, no pun intended, is that she's not the greatest actress in the world, and especially in the Fast and Furious franchise, she doesn't have much to work with there. BVS, she's a little bit, it's like right there on the edge of good performance and kind of like sloppy performance. And in the beginning of this film, there's a couple of scenes where she's acting like she doesn't know what's going on because of her character's been raised in a bubble. And I think that was actually Patty Jenkins kind of leading her through that because later in the film, she has some really solid acting moments.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and I think that it was really important for them to try and push her to be as kind of unrelatable as you can be. Like,
Yeah.
she reminded me a lot of Drax from Guardians of the
Oh,
Galaxy
sure.
2 in that way he's very much just, you can't get anything over my head, I'm too fast. Like,
Yeah,
very
right.
much where you're not expecting her to say certain things, but she says it anyway, just because
Yeah.
that's her part.
Total wild card. Yeah, I agree. So at the beginning of this film, we kind of get a laissez-faire backstory about her, where she was made out of clay, which turns out to not be true at the end of the film. Spoilers from here on out, by the way. She gets she says that she was made from clay and Zeus brought her to life, which is not true. She was actually just her. Zeus had sex with her mother and then she was born. So I think that it was interesting to take these because that's the story from the comments is that Zeus just like made her and to kind of bring it down to make Ares her brother. I thought that was interesting.
I thought it was really interesting too. I thought when I first heard it, like just listening in the movie, I thought it was going to be that Ares was her father. I
Hmm.
wasn't really expecting Zeus to do it because
That
that
makes
made a lot
sense.
more sense to me that she's going to be fighting her father. The whole Luke, I am your father scene all over again,
Sure.
which I would have been fine with here. I feel like it really would have fit and feel like the Zeus part was kind of just out of place, but I'm okay with it. It's one of the points where I feel like they could have done things a little differently and it wouldn't have changed much.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest strengths of the film is Chris Pine and her and Gal Gadot's chemistry. Like they're just like work really well together.
Oh, they do, and I actually really want to talk about Chris Pine as an actor in this. I mean, so much credit needs to be given to Gal Gadot for her amazing play in this, and for really a step in the right direction for her as an actress.
Sure.
But Chris Pine took a step away from what he's really known for, at least in my opinion, where Chris Pine as a character is really good at continually having this charisma, this aura around him. He's a very confident, very well-spoken person,
Yeah.
but Steve Trevor has a lot of problems in the film where he just isn't really very sure of himself. He's a spy. He's not the strongest person. He's not meant to be. He's meant to be able to get in, get out, and not be noticed. And he's next to basically a demigod in his eyes, maybe a
Right.
real god in his eyes. So it's very much that he falters a lot. And I feel like he handles that really well as an actor, being able to show that sort of weakness, that sort of confusion, and not that confidence that he knows what's going to happen. Like the scene in the boat when they're laying there next to each other, and he's asking her about sex basically,
Right.
and the way she's responding to him, it's not how you'd expect someone to respond at all,
Yeah.
and he's handling it really well.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say I didn't. I actually never thought about it like that. I mean, we just saw the movie yesterday, but Yeah, I've never thought about it. Yeah, Chris Pine always is a super masculine, super capable person, and in here it's not like he's incapable. It's just he's not as capable as Wonder Woman. And I don't think there's any scene where she puts him down, which I think is a nice touch. Like, she doesn't have to put them down to bring herself up. Like, she is a demigod by herself, right? She doesn't have to prove it to anybody. She's already the biggest badass in the world, right? And I think in the No Man's Land scene, when she goes up over the trenches and walks across the field and takes all of the fire, I think that's like a really, really great scene.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And taking a step from that as well, just the entire scene where they're inside the, I guess it'd be like the boardroom where they're all talking about strategy, and he shows
Yeah,
the book
I like that
to his
scene.
general, and she's completely against it because that's not how she was taught. You go out and you take care of your problems head on. You have to go and fight them. You have to go find Ares and kill Ares, and they weren't going the same direction as her. They wanted the armistice, and the way she goes about it, where she is going full force, I'm taking care of this. You can't tell me no.
Yeah, and that's where we meet Professor Lupin there, right? And that might actually be the scene where, yeah, that might actually be the scene where she gives herself away.
Yeah, probably.
Because
I
there is
imagine
a
he can
shot.
feel it.
There's a shot where he like looks at her all weird, like you might be led to believe that he knows.
Yeah, I could see how that would work there. My only problem with it would be that if he really felt that way, then I feel like there were steps that Lupin could have taken.
Yeah.
God, I love Professor Lupin.
Okay,
We
his
love
name
Harry
is
Potter too
David
much.
Dwellis. I don't
think
know how
I,
to pronounce his name. We're gonna call
I
him
thought it was
Lupin for the rest of this.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I really liked his character. By the way, I think he's like once I saw him, I kind of had maybe just a slight feeling that because he's such a big actor that he would have a big role. So
It
I'm
just
like,
doesn't
he's
make
got to be
sense.
something
Yeah.
in this. But then I saw the guy, what's his name? Yeah, Danny Houston, who's
Hmm.
from, he's from an MCU movie, right?
Yes.
He's
I
from
believe he
X-Men.
is, actually.
X-Men, yeah, he's Stryker, right?
Yes, he is.
So when I saw
Stryker.
him, I was like, okay, wait a minute. Those are two big actors right there. What? I mean, who's going to be Ares? One of these two, obviously. And to have Lupin as Ares, I thought that was cool because he's old, but he's like really strong, and he's got that real like strong voice. And it's kind of like wish fulfillment if you're like a Harry Potter fan because you never got to see Lupin do anything, and now you get to see him be a total badass. What do you
God,
think?
talking about Lupin, he is old.
He is old, yeah. He is getting old. I don't know how old he
It
is, but he's getting old.
makes me feel bad, man.
Yeah. All right, moving on here. I think some of the slower moments, because there's some pacing issues in this film, especially when we get into after the first battle of No Man's Land, when we get into the scene where they're like dancing around and talking about, and it's great story building and plot building, but it does slow down a little bit right there for me. What do you think about when they're having the dancing scene after the big battle?
I think the dance scene's interesting. My only problem with it is that you have the, I believe he's Irish. He might be Scottish. I'm pretty sure he's Scottish. In fact,
Might be Scottish,
I
I
could be
think.
wrong. Yeah, he's singing, and no one ever really brings up the fact that he didn't shoot because of all of his demons in the past. The guy that was in the Watchtower. All right, that's not a problem for me. What I hope to see afterwards, though, is then to see a big, a big moment where he does shoot, that saving moment, and we don't ever get that. And that was kind of something where it was always plaguing my mind watching him singing there. Like they're just gonna play it off and they're gonna keep moving on. Like he's now the singing character. He's the happy-go-lucky character that they need with him. But I feel like there was so much more that could have been done with him.
I think the idea is that he's got such bad PTSD because he's killed so many people. To take the weight off his shoulders to not have to kill somebody, I think was the idea of that story. Was like, here, we're gonna take this off your hands. One woman will do it for you, and you won't have to kill anybody and have more demons. I thought that was what they were going for. What do you think?
I can see how that can come from there. And it's just one of those things where I really would have loved to see a scene. She's fighting Ares and he shoots Ares, and doesn't really affect him. Just kind of stunned for a second.
Yeah.
Great. Wouldn't have happened, but would have been great.
You know what I really liked was around that time they have the picture that is in BVS. I really liked how that kind of came together and just kind of seeing all of them getting posed for the picture that we've seen in BVS, and it's just like perfect, exactly the same. I thought that was kind of interesting, and it was just like a nice little fan service because it's in BVS.
Yeah, I really liked it, and I didn't notice the actual portrait part of it, where the Scottish guy has his leg up and he's just pushing the kilt back, showing his bare leg.
I didn't see
Didn't
that.
see that in the portrait, but seeing it in the film was hilarious to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I also wanted to say in that part of the film, that kind of gives Steve Trevor like a really smart moment or maybe a great memory moment because when Gal Gadot's aunt in the film, who trains her, is when they're fighting on the beach, her aunt jumps up. She says shield, and then she jumps off somebody's shield, and that same moment happens right there at the watchtower, where Steve Trevor goes shield, and Gal Gadot jumps off the shield. So it's kind of like him seeing that, remembering it in the moment, and making it happen. I thought that was a cool scene.
Yeah, I really thought it was cool. I love how it took 3 people to lift that. Like I really think they did a good job of showing just how amazing Wonder Woman is,
Right.
without making it a big deal. Like these guys are humans. They are normal guys just fighting the war. They are not amazing, and Wonder Woman is a demigod. And they don't belittle the relationship the 4 of them or 5 of them have. I believe it's 5 because it's 4 men and Wonder Woman. Yeah, the 5.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important moving forward, that they don't belittle the secondary people in these DC films. That everyone is important for the casting, not just the main heroes.
Right. You know, and the other thing that I really liked about the film, story-wise, since she believes that if you kill Ares, you end war. And there's definitely some hint of that at the end of the film when the Germans are hugging Chief, and you're like, okay, so maybe he does. But really, what's happening is he's kind of like helping them along. Like he's just pushing them forward, giving them weapon ideas, giving them ideas of what they should do next, right? He kind of just shows up in the background where he's kind of nudging people, but he's not full-fledged making people, go to war.
Yeah, I definitely agree there, and I think that was another scene where I wasn't too sure about it going forward. Where at the very end, they're all hugging and they're all fine, and you could play it off as is they're happy they're just alive after all of that just happened. I could definitely see that.
I could see that too.
I'm not gonna hug my enemy after that, no matter how much I live through it. There's still gonna be that era where I'm glad you're alive, I'm glad we're alive. I'm gonna leave now, and we're gonna fight later. Maybe,
yeah, but those were like really young guys too. I think they made a point to make those German soldiers be really young because they've lost so many that all they have is like 16-year-old boys now, right? So I think that since if it was like a war-hardened veteran, like a 30-year-old man, I don't see him hugging Chief. But maybe the 16-year-old boy who just lived through fucking gods fighting right here, maybe I could go with it.
Yeah, I just think it's tough there because, you have two differing points on it. You have Ares saying that he didn't help people and he just gave them ideas, just gave them the opportunity, and they took advantage of it. And then you have Gal Gadot or Wonder Woman saying, well, no, you're the cause of it. Once you're gone, everyone will go back to normal, which, history will say that didn't necessarily happen. The armistice still happened afterwards. It wasn't the full. I believe it's still an armistice.
And then World War II. I see a lot of things on Reddit saying, "How can World War II happen if Ares is dead?" And I think what she says at the end of the film is that there's darkness in the humans, but lightness is it's better to look at the light. Even though there's some dark in there. So I think World War II still happens in this universe. It's just maybe Wonder Woman just lets it go. She can't. They don't deserve her or whatever, right?
Yeah, I just think it's a tough position to be in at that point. But those are little things.
Yeah.
In comparison to how great they handled the film in general, I'll live with it.
Yeah, same. I got one other thing I wanted to talk about too. It's a little small thing, but I really liked the god animation that they had in the film. It's like it was like slow motion when Ares is showing Ares, and he's got his armor and he's like helping the people go to war, and it's kind of like maybe like a 3/4 speed, and it's like this weird like animation, and then Zeus strikes him down.
Yeah, I think that was really cool. It reminded me a lot of Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, I have no problem with that. It's great animation. I think they handled it really well.
Yeah, I really liked it. I think it kind of takes it out of realism. I think you're led to believe that maybe that didn't happen, or maybe it did happen, but because it's animated like that, there's no way to know for sure, right?
I did think it was really interesting to see Ares handle lightning, which, I mean, I guess any god could, but, that's theoretically supposed to be Zeus's power. And they don't technically say that Zeus is dead. They say that Zeus was weakened by this. by the whole fight with his son. But as far as I'm aware, he's still alive. I'd love to see him come
I
back.
thought they said in the film that with Zeus's dying breath, he made the island.
He might have.
I think
might have
that's in
missed
the
that
film.
part.
Put it in the comments if you remember exactly, but I think that's in there. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was the scene where she's holding the tank over the poison lady, Miss Poison or whatever her name is. And you got it's kind of like the scene with Luke and Palpatine, and Palpatine's giving him the, like, finish him. You got anger in your heart and come to the dark side. It's kind of like that kind of scene, right?
Yeah, Dr. Poison, I think. Elena Anna, I believe her name is.
I have no idea. I'm not even going to try.
I'll live with butchering it. Dr. Poison, I think she's played very well by her actress. And I think they handled that really well with how she is very weak in this scene. She's very much human, but you can still see on her face that there is still that anger. She still does not want to go down this way. She wants to finish her work.
Yeah, but what do you think about the Wonder
really
Woman side of the story, where Ares is in his ear like, yes, kill her because she's weak and she can't keep up with us or whatever, or they want to kill each other. I think you remember that part of the movie?
Yeah, I felt it was
she's
very
holding
cliche.
the tank over her and she's gonna kill her.
I felt it was very cliche. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought I thought it was good
Wonder Woman
because, well, here's the thing. She's killing people right before that because Chris Pine just killed himself. And she blames Miss Poison because she has the poison on the plane. So the whole idea is that she's going to kill her because Chris Pine's gone, not because she has hate in her heart or because they're weak. And really what's happening is by Ares saying those things, it makes her come out of her kill rage and realize that he's wrong.
I agree, but I think that even if they don't have Ares talking there, they'd probably have Steve Trevor talking there because he's not the type of person that would want her to go.
But he's dead, though.
I know. They'd have her talking in his ear, kind of like how she's viewing back. Because in that scene, she's also listening back through her past with Steve Trevor, I believe, if I remember correctly.
They're having the watch scene. Where he gives her the watch and says, "I'm out of time."
Yeah, I think that as a character, especially in that time frame, which I think that it's really important for this, is that he would have wanted to take the burden for her, which he does, and partly by taking the plane, which I don't think she would have anyway, but I feel like there would have been a different scene that could have worked just as well without having evil, because I don't see any reason for them to need to kill Dr. Poison at that point using Wonder Woman's hatred or anger.
Yeah, I don't know. I like that scene personally. I also wanted to talk about the watch because it does start at the beginning of the film and kind of plays its way through the film. He has the watch, tells her dad gave it to her, and then it comes up in the middle somewhere. I can't remember exactly where. And then also it shows up at the end, and he tells her, "I'm out of time. I gotta do this. I can save the day, but you can save the world." I thought that was a cool line.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. And to talk about the watch, it was just something so stupid to me because I learned it earlier. So we watched the film yesterday together. I learned about this earlier yesterday, that commonly whenever watches are shown in movies or photos or films, the most appealing time to see on the clock is 10:10, and that's the time that was shown on the watch when she's holding it at the end.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know why that just bugged me because I had never thought about it and I saw that.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the watch motif in the film, and I do like the last scene where he tells her to, "I gotta do this because you gotta fight Ares," because she can't get the plane gone and fight Ares at the same time. So I think that was a nice way. And obviously, there's no room for him in the DCEU because this is a film in World War One. It's not like he can come with her to present day.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think he had to die, and I think that he went out in the best way that he could. It really fueled Wonder Woman in a way that I don't think anyone else could have. I think that the overall portrayal of the relationship between Steve Trevor and Wonder Woman was really well done.
Yeah, I think their chemistry is great, but I think you got to give all the praise to Gal Gadot because she really fits this character so well, man. She really is Wonder Woman, 100%.
Absolutely. At this point in time, I can't see anyone else portraying her properly. So I'm really happy with the casting of the role of the movie in general, but Gal Gadot in particular is just a great pick, and she's done it wonderfully. And I can't wait to see Justice League.
Yeah, me neither. I'm looking forward to Justice League. That's going to wrap up our thoughts on Wonder Woman. If you're liking this, please let us know. Follow us on Twitter. Leave a comment. Leave a thumbs up. And we will catch you guys on the flip side. Later.
Later.